Hi, good morning. And today we will discuss a couple of things, especially in terms of man management once again, or to become a better manager in the Indian scenario, or maybe in majority of the scenarios across the world. A couple of things are very the initial things, the very basic things for management. We'll start off with the three principles which I always say are very important if you're looking at doing a man management in the best possible way. Well, to start off with, let's put the first point in place. That is, I always feel that the first point as a to become a good manager is demonstrate than demand. This underlining fact that demonstrate than demand is something which is very important for the managers, especially for people who want to become leaders in a big scale in their life. They need to demonstrate everything that they preach. For example, if it comes to in terms of working, it comes to things like that you need to make this many number of calls in the market. So as a manager, whenever you are going to the market, you ensure that you spend that amount of time in the market, which becomes an example in front of your team, and they are very comfortable seeing you that you are spending that time right from the start of the work and the end of the work. Many a times what we see is that a lot of managers, they do not spend the whole day or the whole time across with the field. If they're into field work, see, if you are into field work, if you are into a specific project, you are going in the morning, be there till evening, be there till the date the whole work gets completed. That really helps. That really gives a lot of confidence to the team, and you become an example by it. Before you really ask people to do a full day work, or do a work and spend maximum amount of time covering majority of the customers that they have. In those cases, you ensure that you also spend those time along with them. So that is one aspect of demonstrate than demand. If you're expecting that your team is going to become is going to have a better in clinic performance, ensure that you individually have a better hold on your products, and then you make a very good impact in an in clinic presence, that your in clinic demonstrations are really picked up by your team and they come to you and ask for help. So be an example that what you want others to be. So do the right things that you think are important. So what you are doing is that you are demonstrating your culture, you are demonstrating something which you want your team to follow. One of them is definitely integrity, that we say that as a leader, ensure that you do not compromise on the integrity part. Hence your team will learn it from you, and hence you sometimes you become an example. You become an example of integrity, and hence your team follows it without any too much of a hard work. So this is the first part, which is very important in terms of man management. That's what I say is demonstrate than demand. The second part is definitely what we will talk about is, and the second important aspect that you really need to work on is to avoid blue-eyed team members within the team. That at times we do have preferences for individuals, and that's very destructive for becoming a better manager, because what happens is that we start having likings, we start having a stronger association with some team members whom we are comfortable to work with. That's very important, that you should be comfortable to work, but avoid to give a absolute majority, or you avoid having an absolute orientations totally skewed towards one individual. So it impacts the team. The other team members feels a bit defensive. They feel that even if they do a good work, you might not appreciate them. So it carries on with you. So the most important aspect is that you have a very unbiased approach towards your team members, and in these cases what happens is that you don't have any blue-eyed guys in your team, and it gives a level playing ground to everybody that there is in your team members. All people feel equally important, and that makes a great team. So the overall productivity of the team will definitely increase if you put your team without any very blue-eyed boys in your team, and then avoid the whole aspect of it. So this will give you a parity, and there will be an absolute system in the team, and the team will have a fair amount of respect for you. So the first point we discussed was definitely that, not to going in for a demonstrate then demand approach that you first demonstrate. The second point that have been discussed is avoid blue-eyed team, and the third point that we will talk about is be issue specific. Now, what another important thing happens in our day-to-day operation when we move with a team and we talk to a team is that we instead of becoming issue specific, or instead of reviewing the performance, we start reviewing the performer. So if I am not issue specific, what will happen is that if I have got a liking or a disliking for an individual, it seems that if somebody has not done a good work, you continue to see him with one side of your eyes, and then what happens is, even if that individual comes up with a good word, you do not pay attention, or you cease to see the importance or the kind of good work that he has done. Hence, you have a fixed mindset about that individual. You consider that individual is this way, and even a lot of good works goes out of your purview. Similarly, at the same time, if you have a strong liking for one individual, and in that point, what happens is that your association with him is so strong that even if he is not doing not the right things that he is doing, you fail to see that. Hence, what happens is you can't discriminate between good and bad. So as a leader, it is very important that you become very issue specific. So for an individual who has done a good job, praise him. Tell him the wonderful job that you have done. These are the impacts this particular work will give to the overall performance of that team. And the next day, if that individual do not do a job, does a job which is not good for the overall productivity of that team, be very, very firm and tell him that this part of the work is not acceptable, or it has not been expected out of him. So you ensure that you give him a fair playing ground of doing a good job, and if he does a good job, he gets an appreciation from you. If he does not do a good job, he is being corrected. So you keep that particular place open for you to lead. Hence, if you follow these simple things in life as a leader, you will definitely see that a lot of developments or improvements are coming out in your operation, in your overall productivity of your team, and overall DNA of the team. The team has a huge bonding. The team understands that as a leader you are unbiased. As a leader you demonstrate, then you demand from them, and then as a leader you don't have any blue-eyed members in the team. So everybody takes an opportunity to improve themselves, because they know that there is a fair chance of getting an appreciation if they do a good job, and they find you to be an individual to whom they can come down and discuss about their problems, because probably you will discuss with them very unbiasedly and give them some solutions, some suggestions to work on them, and which might be beneficial for them. So to wrap up, let's put the three things in order. The first thing is, once again, demonstrate, then you demand to whatever work you are expecting for your team. The second thing is that you avoid blue-eyed team members in your team. Don't have favorites in your team. And finally, that you need to be very issue specific in managing your team.